T20 test on one day. India, England, Australia. What a play!
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to review the second test match of England Tour of India, again happening in Chennai. We have Vishak today to review the day one. Welcome to the show, Vishak.
Thanks, Suman. Thanks for having me in the show.
All right, so day one, why don't you walk our Water Player viewers through the sequence of events, your assessment of how India started the second test, which is going to be crucial because India cannot afford to lose this test match. If we lose, then World Test Championship is at stake. So take it away.
As you rightly said, India has to win the series at least by 2-1 or greater. For now, with that, we have already lost the first test match. And like England had already announced their squad for the first test. It was pretty surprising that they already had Archer injured and they also dropped they rested Anderson. I thought, and that was a blunder by them, and they lost 50% of the match right there. He was very handy with the reverse swing, and it was ball was zipping in as if he was bowling an off spinner. Like India won the toss. Kohli finally won the toss after a long time. Place where England lost the rest of the 40% of the test match. I believe they only have 10% of that chance. And India made 3 changes. Like they got Kuldeep, which is Kuldeep Yadav, who everybody thought should have played the first test, and which is a good move. And Bumrah was rested, which is a little surprise. And I think, but getting in Siraj was a good move. He can reverse the ball too, so it would help. These conditions would actually help him. And Akshar Patel on this pitch could be very very handy. So good team selections from India's Indian side. And England made 4 changes. One was forced because Ben Foakes had to come in for because the keeper had gone home, and Stone, Ali, and Broad. And I was pretty surprised with Dom Best's exclusion. Ali was being an experienced campaigner. They expected better from him, and he has a good record against India. The toss went in India's favor, and India selected to bat first. The first over, I thought the pitch was pretty flat and did nothing. But Oli Stone proved us wrong. He started to swing the ball and he got Shubman Gill out. And that was a complete error of judgment from Shubman Gill. Later, yeah, it was complete Rohit Sharma show from them. He started driving, pulling, and he started playing all the shots. He started dominating the first session. Yeah, that was a treat to watch. And Pujara was sedated at the other end, and India was just dominating the session until Pujara played a loose shot, trying to get a single by opening the pace, and Moeen Ali delivered any dream delivery for any off spinner by just ripping it through Kohli's gate and hitting the off stump. What was completely going through as an Indian session turned it in favor of England a little bit with the Kohli wicket. And Rahane had some nervy movements before we went into lunch, but after lunch, it was completely Rahane and Rohit Sharma show. And they played through the entire session, and Rohit Sharma got to his well-deserved 100. Of course, there were some nervy moments in the 90s for Rohit Sharma. Played a long innings after that, and it was a very good partnership between those two, and they looked very comfortable. And they both put on a 150-run partnership, which is very crucial in the context of the game. Yeah, finally in the third session, again India started well. Rohit Sharma got to his 150, and Rahane got to his 50. But England came back storming with the wickets of both Rohit Sharma and Rahane. Tilted the favor a little bit on England's way, but Pant made sure that we don't go into the day with even honors. In fact, slightly ahead with the final score of 300 for 6. Yeah, and it was quite refreshing to see some crowds finally. And even though it was at 50% capacity.
Yeah, toss was a great relief. There is a stat out there saying Virat Kohli in home at test match captains. Every time he wins the toss, 13 games, India won, 2 drawn, and none lost. So that's a big stat. And the second highlight of the day is Rohit Sharma, who is back in form, which is for the first 3 sessions. England team and the English fans were dreading the fact that is this looking like a triple century, but gave away his wicket. But what an innings! 161 in 251 balls in a team score of 300 runs is outstanding contribution. And let's talk about a pitch a little bit. And the context of Rohit Sharma innings will be huge. If you look at our socials, Charlene Tucker says looks like a 350 will be like a 550 in the first innings. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I thought this was a traditional Indian wicket where it started to, but it was not a dust bowl, but it was a wicket where it started to turn from day one, a traditional Indian wicket, which you get to see in Chennai usually. but I don't think it's a 3 day pitch. But if the match goes to 5 days, it will definitely be a dust bowl. But I see I don't see the match going beyond 4 days because already there are some the dust coming out of the surface, and like the third innings and fourth innings will not be easy to bat on. So the first innings will be pretty crucial, and like whoever gets the lead, a handy lead in the first innings would be very crucial.
Yeah. And there is a comment from Girish Ganesh, which is interesting. COVID aside, having two test matches in Chopok doesn't make sense. They could have rather traveled to Bangalore. Timing did not help the cause, but pitches coming in a lot of criticism. If you look at Rick Iyer, who was in our show, Vishak, he pointed out
Yeah,
that out of 87 overs in the day, 59 overs were bowled by spinners on day one. That is
yeah,
staggering. I mean,
yeah.
home conditions, or do you think ICC will have to look at a pitch report per se after the series?
I don't think the pitch was that bad, but because even if you go abroad, if you see you go to Lords, you get a completely green pitch. No one complains about it. So I don't think this was a dust bowl. It was a reasonable wicket where the ball started to turn. It did not kind of break away from the surface or anything like that. So I think it was a decent surface where it had something for the spinners. It had something for the fast bowlers where the ball started to reverse. Even the batsmen, if they got stuck in, they could score well. So I think it was a pretty decent wicket, and like there is I feel there is nothing for ICC to rate the pitches for.
Okay. And Soumya Roy Chaudhary from our Facebook post sums it up nicely while we talk about the pitch. Seems like apart from Rohit, everybody else is playing at Chennai. That is a fantastic comment.
Yeah. He seemed to be a class above everybody today. The way he started off, some of his straight drives initially, they were sublime, and then they started bowling short, and he was just literally pulling them away. And when the spinners came on, he just danced down the wicket, played the sweep shots. That is an interesting aspect. The Indians started employing the sweep shot. They did not play, except Ishan Sharma, I did not see anyone playing the sweep shot in the first test.
Yeah.
So that is something they have learned from Root, and they started employing it, which is an interesting tactic. And yeah, and England had no answers to it. So I absolutely agree with these people that Rohit Sharma was completely on a new planet today.
Yeah. And Moin Ali wicket of Kohli, I have my opinion. I think it came off as a fluke, but did they release Moin Ali from RCB or have they retained him?
They have released him.
Okay.
I
So
think that is the reason where Kohli had shock. I think he never. There was a comment in our group saying that he never bowled such deliveries in the RCB nets, and he started bowling now. That's why Kohli was surprised.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure you are an RCB fan too, but we are not going to get too many followers from RCB hearing this review. Anyway, switching gears before we wrap the review, umpiring also came into scrutiny in the last session. Reactions?
yes. I think especially the third umpire was pretty ordinary today. I think whenever there is a review by the fielding team, both they have to look at it until the fielder catches it. They were just if you take an example of that Rahane's non-dismissal, they just looked at whether it had his inside edge, and then they just gave it not out. They did not even check. They even signaled the umpire to give it as not out. They did not even check the LBW. And later on, the insistence of Root, they checked the LBW and did not check it completely as well, because when the ball bounced up, it caught Rahane's glove and it went to short leg. I feel they should check it completely. And again, so if you check in Rohit Sharma's stumping, that was a 50-50 call to me, because the angle they got, it seemed one of the angles showed that he had a little bit of a toe inside, but if a different angle, like the umpire was asking for a reverse angle, which he did not get. I think the camera also played a pretty crucial role in that. I think the camera should be placed at the right places for the umpires to make a decision. So I don't like on the Rohit Sharma dismissal, I don't blame the umpire. And non-dismissal, I don't blame the umpire. But on the Rahane dismissal, they could have done it better. But it was good that the review was reinstalled for England and it was not lost.
Yeah, English
But
fan.
it could have been pretty costly for England if Rahane had continued. So it was a bad decision from the umpire. Yeah.
English fans on social media have been very vocal about the umpiring, and Abhinesh Warrior thought that Rohit Sharma stumping was out, which I thought too, and couple of other aspects which I felt the umpiring was ordinary is Kohli reviewing or umpire reviewing a bowl. That that seems like gully cricket, right? You and I am sure when we were playing cricket, when we got out, we didn't want to go back and we disputed even when we were clean bowled.
Yeah. I think that was ridiculous. If you're reviewing a bold, I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, English reactions are fascinating. But listen, I think day one net India will be slightly happier team, even though they lost 6 wickets, given the pitch conditions. And the big factor is we have three spinners: Kuldeep, Ashwin, and Aksar. And England will be batting fourth. I think that will be playing on their mind. But a fascinating day two coming up. Probably will be series defining, according to me, going into day two.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think India will be looking to add another 80 to 100 runs so that they can reach around 380, 400, which will be a very tricky task on this pitch. And with us having three spinners, it will not be easy for England. And and even I would say that it will not be easy for us to bat in the third innings as well, considering how the pitch is deteriorating. Gut feeling.
Yep. And then to summarize, I think day two, India will look to speed up the scoring too, seeing how the way Ashwin was going about. I think they will look for the faster scoring rate tomorrow to get England in as quickly as possible. Having said that, listen, thanks Vishak for taking time and reviewing day one. As usual, great summary of the day. Looking forward for day two. And folks who are watching, thanks for your time as well. Drop in a comment, send us reactions or what else you would like to see in our daily reviews. We'll continue the momentum and thank you very much.
T20 test on one day.